guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for agents who desire to be top producers in their desired market, wherever that might be across the country. We have an online community to help you do that at topproducersnation.com. You can find it. You can join our school community through there at tpnschool, SKOOL.com to be able to learn more about our programs, courses, ongoing resources to help you be a top producer in your desired market. We're also powered locally by our Tampa Bay Real Producers franchise here in the Tampa Bay market, which is where we are now in our beautiful studio here on Kennedy and West Shore. And Tampa Bay Real Producers is a monthly magazine as well as an event program and a media program where we feature the top 500 producing real estate agents in the Tampa Bay market. Recently, we did a special 30 under 30 issue, and our guest today was actually featured in that issue, and that is none other than Katherine Ruiz. Katherine is with Nova Real Estate Group as a licensed agent. But our focus today is really going to be on her skill sets regarding the investment world, how she has utilized various forms of investments to build passive income and wanting to help other agents do the same. Her group that she founded is called Four Corners Investment Club and also has an entity called Blue Ring Investors for people who are, I'm assuming, looking to invest. So, Katherine, it's good to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. This is excited to dive in with you. I love bringing on some people who have some unique angles to bring to the table, and I know you do. So we had a chance to talk a little bit at the event that you were at about your passion for investing and building wealth that way. And so I'm excited to kind of dig in a little bit more to that. We'll start with just your background for people who might not know anything about your story or didn't get a chance to learn a lot about you through even our article on the 30 under 30 piece. So did you grow up in Tampa? If not, how'd you get here and how'd you get yourself interested in real estate?
So I did not grow up here. I was born and raised in North Philly, actually.
Nice.
So I am
Philly gal,
I'm a Philly gal, yeah. And I spent some time in Puerto Rico with my other family, but then I came here probably going into high school. So I got to spend my teenage years here in Tampa. I did not like it. I called my mom crying. I was like, take me back. I want to go back to Philly. So that was fun. But I grew to love it. You grow to love the humidity. And
yes, you do.
So amazing.
And the winters in Philly could be a little brutal.
I love it though.
Yeah?
I do love it. Yeah.
You're a winter gal, huh?
I am. I was born in January, so.
That makes sense. There
Yeah.
you go. I grew up in Connecticut, so I went through plenty of blizzards and
You don't like
cold weather in my time. I was ready to get out. Yeah, I had enough. For sure.
I love it. But I do love Florida now. And so I was actually going to school to become an attorney.
Okay.
And I did my internship very early on at the courthouse with a judge who was a friend of mine. And I saw how the lawyers kind of lived. And I was like, oh my God, I do not want
Wasn't
this.
for you, huh?
No. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And that's when I got the idea of real estate. I got into flipping first. So I actually started flipping houses.
How long ago was this?
That was, I want to say like 7, almost 8 years ago.
Okay. That's when you initially got licensed, or were you licensed yet?
No.
You just went right into flipping, right?
I went right into flipping. I started calling a bunch of realtors, and I noticed very quickly on that not a lot of realtors had like knowledge on investments, flips, numbers, returns. You know, so I was kind of on my own when it came to all that. But I did my first flip, and the realtor that helped me on that flip ended up recommending his contractor to me. And his contractor screwed me over for about $40,000.
You hear that a lot in that line of work, unfortunately.
Yeah, but they had another thing coming because I really don't like getting screwed over. And so I ended up countersuing them, and I won.
Okay.
And so
Don't mess with Ruiz.
Nope. I really don't like it. And the funny thing is, my investor on
Learned
that
this lesson the hard way.
Oh yeah. My investor on that property was Canadian, and if you know anything about Canadians, they are the friendliest, sweetest people ever. So he was like, "Let's just pay them. I don't want this lien on our flip." I said, "No, I will burn every dollar to the ground before I pay this contractor anything." And surely I sure did. Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit. What was it about house flipping that was appealing to you?
I grew up watching HGTV, so I think everyone who's ever seen, Flip or Flop or any of these shows always thinks they can do a better job. So
Sure.
I grew up watching that and I was like, I can do this. And so that's when I got into the flipping and I started designing and doing kind of all those things on my own.
Okay. And you mentioned you had an investor from Canada, I guess, who was involved. Was that your first flip?
Yeah. So
Okay.
obviously in my early 20s, I was completely broke. And so you have to kind of either put in the equity or the money. And I had a lot of sweat equity and $0.
Sure.
And so I went to a bunch of networking groups and I found my first investor and he took a chance on me, which was amazing because
Yeah.
I was literally like 20 years old.
Yeah. And he
He's
knew it
awesome.
was your first deal. But you that's one of the things I think is interesting, that a lot of people who have an interest in this space who get into their head about it. And it's like, well, no one who's going to want to give me money. I don't have any experience.
Yeah.
I can't really prove to them. I don't have a portfolio, all these things. But there's always a way. You just got to find that first person who's willing to, of course, I'm sure there was some certainty in the numbers that you were presenting and
Absolutely.
had an idea of what the numbers could be bought for, what you could sell for, what the rehab was going to cost.
Yeah.
But I guess I would encourage people, just don't give up, right? Even if you're new at this and you want to get involved, the reality is there's somebody out there who would believe in you.
Absolutely. I got probably 20 no's before he said yes. So it wasn't like.
That's huge. How many people would have quit after the fourth or fifth,
Absolutely.
right?
No,
Yeah.
I put that deal under contract and I was like, I'm finding an investor. And so
How'd you find the deal?
I called every realtor I could and I just told them what I was looking for. I was looking for distressed properties and we used a few different softwares too. And so this one realtor found me the property and I ran the numbers. I'm a numbers girl, so I can do the math really quickly in my head. And so once I saw where it was located and how much I could get out of it, I was like, immediately, let's snatch it up.
Nice. Very good. So it was actually a listing?
Yeah.
It was on
listed.
market. Okay.
It was on the market.
So I know a lot of people in the investment world work on the off-market deals most of the time.
Actually, I'm the opposite. I work off of more on-market deals.
Do you?
The thing is, most people don't want to target these houses because they think that they're just too much to deal with. And I love houses that have like full gut. Like I need to replace everything.
Yeah.
And those are the houses
That's where
that
there's
people,
money usually.
they stay away from them. So the scarier, the better for me.
And that's interesting too, because I think you hear so much about, and I've been involved in a few flips myself, and I do love, that's one of the things we talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
But most of the time you hear focus on off-market stuff. That's where you're going to find all your deals. Almost completely ignore everything that's on the market.
And I want them to do that.
That's the common thread. That's good for you, right?
Yeah, do it, please.
But you're right. There are obviously properties that are on market that still need rehab, that are in situations where the seller is fairly desperate and needs to get out of a situation. In their mind, it's like the easiest thing to do is still find an agent who can just let me unload this thing, right? I know I'm selling it for below market prices, but the status of the house, justifies that.
It does.
Right?
It really does. And the beautiful thing is I think like 90% or 90 to 95% of all the flips I did were actually on market. And most of them were like estate sales or distressed properties. There weren't many that I did off market. So I would say I'm definitely an on market girl.
What's the most number of flips that you've done in a year?
I want to say like 10.
Nice.
And I
It's
was losing my hair.
It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. What was your experience like in terms of, did you find any continuity between days on market process? Or was it normally like a 3 or 4 month window? Was it a lot shorter than that, longer than that?
There wasn't any like timing to it. It was just more so if the numbers worked, I would take it. So I like back at that time, wholesaling became a thing. And so every time I would try to say to myself, I'm going to wholesale the deal, I would run the numbers and I'm like, I'd be crazy to wholesale this.
Right.
And so I started just flipping all of them and I just wanted them all.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, there's definitely more profits to be had if you do the work yourself, as long as the numbers do work and you have some trustworthy contractors that you can rely on.
Let's talk about
I'm assuming that
trustworthy
changed,
contractor.
right? That changed over the
No,
years?
it didn't.
Really?
No. So I kept dealing with really crappy contractors. I think it's like the number one like issue in the state of Florida. Just contractors that put liens on the houses. They do crappy work. It's just awful. So I ended up with, I think it was my second or third flip. I was paying the contractor bi-weekly. And he ended up not paying his subcontractors. And what happened was a lot of the subcontractors are Hispanic. And so they take advantage of a lot of these guys. So probably 4 or 5 months had passed by since we started that flip, and I would always go check on my properties, and I always give my business cards to the subcontractors.
Yep.
If they need anything, call me, just let me know. So I got a call from one of them, and he was like, Miss Catherine, I'm sorry, in Spanish. She's telling me, I don't want to bother you, but I have to feed my family, and we haven't gotten paid. And here I am paying this guy,
GC,
and he's not paying his workers. That really upset me to the point where I ended up taking the contractor to the bank, and I had him sign a release, and I said, I'm done with you. We're not working anymore. Sign this release. And then I took the rest of the money and I paid the subcontractors directly. And what that kind of opened the doors for me was to open up my own renovation company.
That makes sense.
And now
do you still have that today?
I do. Yeah.
Nice. What's that called?
It is RenoX.
RenoX. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask about that because a lot of investors that I know have intentionally not worked with GCs, right, and found their own subcontractors that they work, whether they've started their own renovation company or not, just having that direct connection, right?
It's so much better.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense because obviously you're eliminating a middleman, but you just then have that responsibility of also having to manage, maybe a little bit more involved.
Yes.
In the actual
but
project
that's when
itself.
You get the construction managers, so it kind of evens out because at least this guy is working for you and you know the numbers versus a contractor that is just trying to upsell everything and lie to
Build
you.
up the margin.
Yes, it's insane.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot, just getting the own renovation company.
Do you have any tips for somebody who is interested in this world or this space, and like how do you find those subcontractors in a way that can have those direct connections? Because it seems like most of the stuff that's out publicly is going through a GC.
Yeah, believe it or not, the best way and my favorite way of finding subcontractors is literally driving around town. And you'll see like
just talking to people who are working on homes.
You'll see the beat up vans and you'll see them working outside, and I literally just go and I talk to them.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Have your eyes open, right?
Yeah.
Driving for dollars
That's
is what
it.
they've always called it.
That's my favorite.
So you have a renovation. What other companies do you have, Catherine? I've got like 5 listed here on the thing. You got
That's only half of them.
That's awesome. So you got a renovation company.
Yeah.
And your focus in terms of the investment portfolio has evolved a little bit, it sounds like, over the years.
Yeah.
It started, I guess, focused on flipping, right? Residential flips.
Yeah.
Do you still do residential flips?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, this market's a little weird. So, you've got sellers that want top dollars for their houses.
Yeah.
So it's not realistic to do as many flips because the numbers just don't work.
Yeah.
I'm very conservative with my numbers. So I haven't done as many, but I'm always looking out and looking for a good deal.
And when you talk about the numbers, I mean, from what I've been exposed to in this industry, generally the kind of rule of thumb is 70% of the ARV, right, minus the cost of repairs.
Yeah.
Is that the similar formula that you use?
Yeah, I think I'm just a tad bit more conservative because my investors' money is like my money. So if I wouldn't put my own money into it, I'm not going to put someone else's.
Sure.
So I like to buffer it, especially when you've got a market like we do now where everything is kind of sitting for a while. So your holding cost is longer and you're not getting such a high ARV. So I like to be a little bit more conservative with what I believe the ARV would be.
No, that makes sense. And how do you determine the ARV, like 3 to 5, just normal market comps?
Yes, but then I also add a little bit more to it. My designs are usually a little bit, and not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I do a design that's better than the average flipper.
You're not just putting the normal template up there.
I cannot stand agreeable gray.
That's the standard, isn't it?
If I see another flipper put something gray in a house, I think I'm very open to what people tell me. And since I am a broker, I do my open houses for my flips, and I will hear what people have to say about it. Because I don't sit here and say, I designed it, I did everything. I want to hear their honest opinion.
Sure.
So I learned my lesson very quickly on when I did a house in Crescent Heights in St. Pete, and it's more of an older neighborhood. And I had modernized everything, gray, everything gray. And they came in and they're like, it's nice. It's fine.
Wasn't quite landing on
No,
that.
and I'm like, what's wrong? Just tell me. And they're just like, it's missing the charm. Like, everything is so bleh.
Yeah.
And so I learned my lesson with that one. What I started doing was studying the subsidiary markets to see what designs actually fit in that neighborhood. Because you can be
Smart.
10 minutes away and it's a totally different design point. And I think that's where most flippers go wrong, because they just slap the gray on everything and the white cabinets and think, oh, I'm just going to get top dollar.
Yeah, and the thought process is if it's simple like that, then the buyer is going to want to do their own thing anyway once they get it.
Yep.
But you are right, I think, too, that a lot of buyers don't necessarily want to have to put stuff in or do
No.
work. So
They're
if you
spending all their money on the house. They don't want to have to put any more work.
If you can find a way to make it that extra incentive, that extra appealing note, that definitely can play all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So it's very smart. I like that concept, because a lot of the training that I've been exposed to is what you already said. Like, this is the standard.
Yeah, that's 90% of people, and
here's the model. It's
I don't like it. I think it's so tacky. But I know you asked how many other businesses I have. That's kind of how I ventured into the interior designing business, because
of course you have to have one of those as well. Yes.
Well, because a lot of the neighbors would come into the flip and they would be like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful. It's the same layout as my house. Can you do it to my house?" And I'm like, I guess. I mean, I didn't go to interior designing school. Like, this is just all things that I learned through experience.
Sure.
And so with my renovation company, I opened the interior design side, and I was able to help the neighbors essentially just fix their houses and renovate their homes too.
Are there entrepreneurs in your family? Is it in the blood?
I think my mom. Yeah, my mom had a rough childhood, but she always had a vision with real estate. She loved it. And so I think I'm kind of picking up the pieces where she left off.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. They must be pretty proud of you, though, for what you've built over the years, right?
She's amazing. She's
Is your family still in Philly, or are they down here?
Well, we actually have some properties in Philly that we're going back and forth renovating, but most of my family is here. My extended family is in Puerto Rico, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a good friend of mine who used to be my boss, actually. He does a lot of flips in Philly.
It's
as
a great
well.
market.
Mostly like apartment buildings and whatnot.
That's all you have over there.
Yep. Yeah. So he's done that for probably like last decade or so, and he's done very well with it. Rick Castro is his name. Puerto Rican as well.
Really?
Yeah, he's a Puerto Rican gentleman.
He might be my cousin.
He may be. He may be. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. Great guy. But he runs I think he calls it RAC, R-A-C. That's his initials, right?
Yeah.
Rick Castro Construction, I believe, is the name of this company. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about how the portfolio has evolved, because I know you've pivoted into some other asset classes over time.
Yeah.
And was that always the vision from the beginning, or what opened up other doors?
No, I think that I started to see how much work actually went into all these other ventures. And a lot of people have the misconception that when you get into flipping or when you become a realtor, like, it's going to be all this money coming into your pockets and you're just getting to hang out.
Sure.
And
Get to chill at the beach and it's just mailbox money all the time.
No,
Yeah.
it's not a thing.
It's pretty hands-on.
It is severely. It's worse than having a regular 40-hour 9-to-5 job.
Right.
So I saw myself figuring out, what do I need to do to build more of a passive income approach, because flipping is not
Flipping is not passive.
It is not. So I got into single family and I just started buying and holding and buying and holding. But I noticed very quickly that would take me forever to scale. And I didn't want to deal with 20 roofs and 20 ACs and 20 tenants. You know, I didn't want to deal with that. And I had to find something that would make me go faster. So I sold my rental portfolio and I got into multifamily. And that's kind of how that was born, on the multifamily side.
That makes a lot of sense. I hear that story and it resonates a lot with me, because that's actually the path that I want to go down myself.
Yeah.
With multifamily, were you looking at units like, what was your minimum? Was it 5 units or larger?
That's the thing with like the units. You have to have enough units where it makes sense, because if you have too little of units, then it's not passive income, because you're still going to have to be taking care of it. There has to be enough.
Plus the banks look at it differently, right?
Yes,
It's really at 5 when they treat it like a commercial deal.
Not even. It's more like 15.
Really?
Yeah, they still 5 to 10 to 15. They'll still give you a little leeway, but it's just not enough profit margin to have like a property manager for you to be more hands off.
Yeah.
So when I looked into the 5 to 10 unit, the profit margin just wasn't there. So I figured, let me think bigger. And that's when I started getting into the 100 and 150 and 200 units that a lot of people don't know you can actually get into.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are intimidated by those big numbers, because what I've always been taught too is that you are then competing too with like institutional money, and there's REITs involved when you're dealing with those size.
I have a secret for you though.
Go ahead. We're open for secrets here.
Yeah, institutions don't care about 100 units. They're looking at
1,000 plus.
Thousands of units. They don't care about this little baby 100-unit building.
Yeah,
They're
makes
pouring
sense.
multi-million dollars into 5,000 units, 6,000 units, because what they do is they buy them in a portfolio basis countrywide. So trust me, you're not competing with them.
And their cap rates are obviously pretty compressed when they're dealing with that big of a scale. But because it is such scale, it still makes sense for the investors, the return that they need to have.
Exactly.
And the money's just burning a hole in their pocket that they have to spend anyway.
They have to get rid of it.
Their problem is trying to find the right assets. Yeah. So that's cool. So if you had to define your sweet spot for multifamily, what would that look like for you?
I feel like it's between 80 to 150.
Okay. And have you been finding that in this area?
Not in this area. I do not invest in Florida at all.
So do you have certain areas that you focus on?
Yes. I like more feel how you want about the politics and I like landlord friendly states.
Sure.
So usually your red states are going to be.
That makes sense.
Yeah. As a landlord, you're going to want to make sure that you have some kind of control where if your tenant's not paying for 6 months, you can get them out.
Totally. So from what I understand about the industry, that's kind of like states east of the Mississippi, south of the Mason-Dixon line, right?
Exactly. You got it.
That's the typical formula there. So do you have a certain state that you love?
I love Texas. I feel like everyone loves Texas, though. It's just such a great it's an amazing state.
It's a great investor state, yeah. And Florida is too, really, I think. No? Not from a landlord side?
It's just, they have good landlord laws,
Yeah.
but these hurricanes have been killing us.
That makes sense. Insurance challenges.
The insurance rate is insane. It's through the roof. And for good reason, obviously. They have a lot of liability.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I don't own one single apartment in Florida because of that. Not to say that someone else couldn't do it, but I like my numbers to be a little bit more flexible.
How many doors are you up to now?
I think we are at 500. Last time I checked, our goal is to get to 1,000, and then from there get to 10, and just keep going.
That's awesome. And do you generally find that, say, 500 doors? Do you usually use an average of like $100, $200 a month in net profit per door? Is that a safe assumption?
These are different portfolios. So we've got a few that are like 100 unit, 150 unit, 200 unit. So combined, we're looking at maybe $500 to $700 per door.
That's really healthy because most of the formulas I've looked at, and for people I know who are in this space, they usually use like 200, 250 as an average, right?
Yeah. We like to leave those for other people. Well, I'm not going to say that we are buying every single apartment out there. We're just very picky when it comes to what we're willing to give our investors.
So what are you looking for in these asset classes? Are you looking to try to get a specific cap rate to purchase at? And then I'm assuming, from what I understand, you're then going to do your systems and your programs to try to have that cap rate grow.
Yeah.
Ideally, you're seasoning it within maybe a 12-month, 18-month window. I think that's pretty standard with most investors that I know.
Yeah.
So what does that look like for you in terms of what you're looking to go after?
So there's 4 different classes when it comes to multifamily. You've got your Class A, which is your luxury, high-rise, brand new. Class B and C is your working class, maybe 10 to 15 years old. And then your D is your Nebraskas, for those of you that don't know.
The war zones.
Yeah, the war zones.
Yeah.
So because we invest our own dollars right alongside our investors, that's why we tend to be pickier. We don't like Class A just because it's usually the first thing to go when the market...
The cap rates are tighter, obviously.
Yeah. So, and we don't like Class D because we don't feel like having our tenants getting shot at.
Yep.
So we like to stay in a very healthy margin between B and C. That's your working class. That's your people who, they're going to work. They need somewhere to live.
What in your mind do you consider to be like a good cap rate? If you can get something at this purchase, I know the market's going to vary based on market to market.
So every market's going to be different. And then depending on where the market is currently with whether or not it's emerging. So we like to go into secondary and tertiary markets. We don't really like to be in the main cities because the main city's already been utilized. It's got, it's grown to where it needs to. Not to say there can't be more growth, but what tends to happen in every city, no matter what, statistically proven, is that it gets too full, your primary market, and then everything starts to go on the outskirts.
Yeah.
So for you to actually see the progress year after year, you're going to want to go into those secondary and tertiary markets.
And since you live here, and you mentioned earlier that you don't own any of these buildings in Florida, are you spending a decent amount of time at all traveling to visit these in person? Is it?
Yes.
I'm assuming most of the management is virtual at this point because
So
you're not living there. But
we have management on site for most of them because,
Yeah.
again, you've got that healthy amount of units.
is that usually a 10% cost?
Well, no.
Lower, higher?
Much lower.
Is
So yeah, the more doors you have, the lower that percentage will be. But the beautiful thing is that the managers take care of the tenants and the toilets and the issues, and they have a full on-staff manager that cares for them versus us trying to deal with it. I'm very blessed to have great partners in this. So if I can't travel, one of my other partners will travel to the properties, and we like to check up on the properties and see how they're doing. Something we just finished doing was like a tenant appreciation day. We love doing things more for the tenants just to show them that we appreciate them, because we want to make sure that we retain them, we keep them happy. And
those are your clients, right?
Absolutely.
So the more that you can retain them in the building. And I've worked with some investors who even have had a lot of success with having programs in place. So, it's almost a mixed bag because you have renters who are paying what you need to be paid every month, but you also potentially could benefit from helping those renters get into a home, right? If that's a program where you can literally educate them on getting their credit right and different things needed to be able to invest enough money, educate them on the process, so that you almost like graduate them out of the rental world.
Yeah.
Which I guess hurts that particular investment, but not if you have someone else that you're plugging right in.
It doesn't, because there's always going to be someone that needs to rent.
Sure.
And I think that people have a really bad perception of landlords and people that own apartments, because like one of my videos
greedy, just looking
absolutely. One of my videos on TikTok went
living in slum houses.
Literally, they called me a slumlord. It went viral. I think I got like 2-3 million views on it, and they're like, "Oh, another slumlord in the making." And I'm like, that's insane. Like, we actually care for our tenants. We're doing the renovations. We're doing things to help them. Obviously, with that comes a cost, but we're showing them that we care. And we love doing programs like that where we're educating them on fixing their credits and getting a home if that's what they want. But a lot of people, it's sad to say, but the American dream of owning a home, it's not the dream that everyone wants anymore. People love renting. They don't want to deal with it.
They don't want the responsibility.
They don't want the responsibilities.
Yeah.
So if that means getting a brand new unit for a few more dollars a month, they're going to do that.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have programs like that to help people get into homes as well?
Yeah.
And then if that is the path that people take, does that somehow still stay within your entity, your brand, that's just traded on to like a referral to another agent?
Not even a referral. We just do it out of love and just because we care.
See where it falls. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's a good idea. I think you're giving me another business.
Well, hey, it could be another business model right there, I mean, you obviously have that side too, because now you are a licensed real estate agent, right? And did you get your license just to have access more for flipping purposes?
No, I never wanted to be a realtor, actually.
Okay.
I never wanted a brokerage. I didn't want the responsibilities of other realtors. It's very time consuming and it's very strenuous. That first realtor that recommended me the contractor, he obviously, when the crap hit the fan and the contractor started ripping me off, he was like, I don't want to deal with this. So I said, okay, well then you're not listing my house because you clearly don't care about me.
You're abandoning me.
Right. And so, which is crazy because I literally told him, like, you find me the flips, like I will feed you everything. You can have the listings, you can take care of it. But he just didn't want to deal with it. And so I said, okay, that's fine. I went to look for other realtors, and it was just a lot of, it's just very saturated. And honestly, I see now why people don't like realtors, because a lot of the times we care more about the property and the commission versus the actual person and what they're needing, And
unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And that's not all of us.
Yeah, well, what's nice about what we get to do with Real Producers and with Top Producers Nation is I get to see the other side of that, which are the good agents, right? The top producers. Generally, they're top producers because they do genuinely care.
Absolutely.
And they're consulting at a high level. But we all, and I talk about this all the time, there's 24,000 licensed real estate agents just in Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco County alone. And the vast majority of them aren't fitting that definition. They're doing less than 2 deals a year. Stats show that, and so there is a big distinction between the majority of agents out there and what, say, the top 500 do, which is thankfully our audience. But for many people who have experiences with realtors, they're usually working with one of those non-top 500 people.
Unfortunately.
And unfortunately. So that creates a certain impression and
bad image to all
bad
of us.
image for sure. And It's an interesting dynamic because one of the things that people like about real estate is that there's not a huge barrier to entry. You can get yourself licensed over a weekend.
Yeah.
And
That's what I did.
exactly. And that's a good thing in some ways, right? Like have easy access for people to get in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that opens the door for anybody to just get
Everyone
a license,
and
right?
anyone,
And you can't really walk across the street without bumping into a realtor.
Yeah.
So it totally makes sense. But that's why having a distinguishing factor that separates you is really, really critical.
Yeah.
But you got your license for what specific reason?
So when I was looking for a listing agent to list my flip, I had a really hard time finding one.
Okay.
And so someone told me, well, why don't you just get your license? I did some research and I saw that I could get it in like 2 weeks. Literally, like I took the super fast class.
Yep.
And then I took the
Bob
exam.
Hogue.
Bob Hogue.
Everyone goes to the
Hey,
Bob
I
Hogue.
love Bob Hogue.
School of
okay?
Real Estate,
We
baby.
love Bob Hogue. And so I went to the class and I did it. I got my license. And it's funny because the listing agent was like, there's no way you can list. I mean, back in the day, you could buy, I think I bought that flip for like 140, 50,000. Not anymore. But he was like, there's no way you can list this thing for more than 300. Like 300 is like the highest. Keep in mind, I did a full gut and everything was done. And I said, no, I have a really good feeling that I could list it for higher. And I'm glad I didn't listen to him because I listed it for 349, so 50,000 more than what he said. And I got an offer within 3 days.
Nice.
Full price. Everything was just ready to go.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I couldn't sell it because I had a lien on the house
Oh, wow.
from the contractor.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fun.
So then you got licensed so that you can represent your own flips there for a while. Do you do any like retail, residential, real estate agent work now?
Yeah, so
representing clients at all?
that kind of it evolved for me because then my friends and family were like, well, can you help me? And so for a few years I had my license, but it was not like, I was not a realtor that was out there marketing. Like I didn't want to deal with clients. I didn't, because again, there was such a bad name with realtors that I didn't want to be.
And your passion was in the investing side.
It was in the investment side.
Right.
So I would help friends and family and my own flips. That was it. And then I had a few colleagues, friends, other realtors that were like, we want to do what you do. Can you take us under your wing?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want a brokerage. I don't want this. And they're like, please. And so I started my brokerage, which was Nova Real Estate Group.
Oh, I didn't know Nova was your brokerage.
That's my brokerage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
And
thought
so
for some reason I was thinking that you were affiliated with just someone else's brokerage just to have a brokerage.
no,
right?
well, I actually tried going under certain brokerages and it just wouldn't work because a lot of them didn't understand my vision when it came to the investment world.
Yeah.
And to them, it was just too much risk, too much E&O risk, too much this, too much that. So I just went and I did my own thing. And then I saw that other realtors were looking for that same vision of becoming investors one day.
Totally.
And that's why I opened the doors to Nova Real Estate Group so that I could teach realtors that you don't have to sell houses till you're 70. Like you need to build your own investment platform.
Yeah, the more I hear you talk, we're doing a building wealth through real estate panel. I don't know if you're familiar that we do these panels at Whiskey Cake every month.
I think so, yeah.
For our real producer audience.
Yeah.
We average about 100 agents a month who come out to it
that.
generally.
Yeah.
And we're doing a building wealth one in, I think it's November. I forget now. Is it October or November? One of those 2 months. I'll look. But I'd love to have you on it if you're around.
Yeah.
It's usually the third Thursday of each month. And we have a couple people who specialize in different specific asset classes normally. And I think you'd be a great fit for that. So we'll have to talk more about that off camera. But how many agents do you have now as part of Nova?
I like to keep my numbers very, very small because I mentor and coach every single realtor.
Yeah.
And I mentally cannot deal with too many. So right now we're at 6 and I don't want any more. Maybe one or two.
Though, because these are 6 agents who aren't just trying to be traditional agents, right? They're agents who specifically are trying to build their own investment portfolio.
Exactly.
Or are so it's not just trying to help other people build their portfolio.
No. So my brokerage was meant for realtors to build themselves, not build others, because as realtors, that is what we do.
Yeah.
We help the investor buy the property. We help them build the property. We help with everyone, but we don't help ourselves. And the thing about real estate that sucks is we don't have a retirement plan. We don't have anything to help us.
Right.
So if we don't set ourselves up for that generational wealth and that retirement plan, we're screwed when it comes to 65.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's awesome, Catherine. November. Thank you, buddy. We got Rob here doing the magic
Rob.
behind the scenes. So what's the date? November 20th. So maybe we can have you on that if you're around. We'll
Okay.
see. We'll see. We'll put it on the calendar, hopefully.
Okay.
November 20th. All right. So now you have 6 agents who want to build their portfolio like yours. Do you have do you have a rock star that you're just really, really proud of who's been following your lead and crushing it?
Yeah, so they're all very special in their own ways. I love all of them individually. There is one that is like my right hand, and she's amazing.
What's her name?
Her name's Stephanie Mitchell.
Shout out to you, Stephanie Mitchell.
You're amazing, Stephanie.
How
I
long has
love
she
you.
been working with you?
She's been working with me since almost the beginning. Yeah.
Nice.
So
she's seen the journey since the early flip days.
We met, well, before that, we met at Progressive. We both worked at the call center in Progressive.
Okay.
And we were like, we hate this job. We want to get out of here. And she started seeing what I was doing with flips. And so she said, screw this, I'm leaving. And she came and worked with me.
That's awesome. How many doors is Stephanie up to now?
She is doing something a little different.
Okay.
Yeah. So not every one of them will do apartments.
Sure.
And that's why I wanted to also make it very different for everyone, because not everyone's going to like multifamily.
Yeah.
Some people like commercial spaces, salons, photography. Like there's different ways of building passive income. It's just not multifamily.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you about that anyway. So
Yeah.
is your focus still mostly on multifamily, or have you dabbled with some of these other asset classes as well?
I love multifamily. I feel like it's the one that will stand the most when the times go rough.
So it's going to be a need for people to have to live
People
somewhere.
need to rent,
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like I'm biased though, but there are other ventures that I'm getting into as well.
Cool. What's one?
That's on a need to know basis.
Oh, it's okay. It's a secret site right
Yeah.
now. Okay. Do you like the concept of like new construction and development at all?
It's a little tough right now because of the fact that our building cost has gone up so high. So I don't like it personally, but I'll give you one. We like self-storage units.
Sure. I have some friends in that space.
Yeah. Self-storage units are a good one too.
And you like to buy existing ones, or you're not building new ones?
I am a firm believer that if you can buy existing,
Yeah.
it will always be better than if you can build, because between the cost of the land and the cost of the build, and then the fact that you have to do all that with having zero cash flow, it just puts you in a position where I don't like being.
Yeah.
So I like something existing. It's working. It may not be great, but it just needs a few tweaks. And then in the meantime, you're still getting cash flow and you're working on making it better each day.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I had a good friend who started actually his investing career with self-storage facilities throughout Florida mostly, but he did other states like you were talking about. And then he started pivoting to mobile home parks, ended up crushing it with mobile home parks, and ended up making millions and millions of dollars through that specific asset class.
Mobile home parks are amazing when you are not dealing with the actual mobile home. So if you can just
own the land,
lease the land back to them.
Right. Which is what he does.
Amazing.
Yeah. No, it's a tricky industry though, because it's limited. Like, and I think there's laws against you can't just create new ones.
Nope.
So it's like
super exclusive.
It's very exclusive. Yeah. And so as you get more and more people interested in that space, it makes it harder to find better deals.
Yeah.
So he actually ended up selling for ridiculous returns most of his parks. I think he might still hold one, but he ended up building up an entire educational company around it called Lifestyle Investor. His name's Justin Donald. He's a guy that I used to sell Cutco knives with back in the day.
I love Cutco.
Cutco knives.
You know a lot of good people.
We do know a lot of good people through Cutco. There's some great connections through there for sure. But he's a good friend of mine, and he now runs this really cool mastermind and group called the Lifestyle Investor.
Yeah.
You can read his book if you want.
Okay.
He wrote a book called Lifestyle Investor: The 10 Commandments of a Lifestyle Investor.
I love that.
So it's actually a really good book.
Yeah.
But very cool. So I have people that I know in my network who have done very well through these various channels that you've described, and that's why I was excited to have you here on the show. So as we kind of wrap up, give me a thought for like what gets you most excited for the future. Where do you see this going rest of this year, going into next year and beyond? Is there something that your vision is set on now?
Yeah, so right now I really want to help a lot of the realtors focus on passive income and their retirement. And I only say realtor because obviously I'm a realtor, so I'm a little biased, but this is more for anyone that is currently working a 9-to-5 or hustling and bustling and wants to start working on their passive income. So teachers, nurses, engineers, anyone, it applies to all of them. We decided to, because I have the apartment company, which is Blue Ring Investors, but there is a bit of a higher barrier of entry because the minimum to start on those is about $50,000.
This is if you want to invest in,
if you want to invest in apartments.
an apartment.
Yeah. So that's when you
So basically it's kind of like a syndication.
Exactly. It's exactly a syndication. So if you want to invest alongside us, then you can do that without having to deal with the headache of managing it. So that's amazing. But I wanted to do something more for the little guy, for the newer investors, for the people that don't have $50,000. And that's when we created Four Corners Investment Club. So I'm excited to get Four Corners Investment Club going and just making it a giant success, because the barrier to entry for that one is only $10,000.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing about it is that since it's backed with real estate, we can do 7 to 14% returns guaranteed. And I know that word is a little scary for a lot of people because most syndications, they won't guarantee anything for you because it's a risk no matter what. But with this investment club, we were able to find a way to guarantee people's returns up to 14%.
It's healthy.
It is amazing.
You only need 10. Obviously, is this like a per project investment concept?
No, it's as much as you want. So it's a club that you get to be a part of. It's an exclusive club. So you have to answer a few questions, and if it works out, then we accept it. So you can start at 10,000, but you can invest whatever you want. And the beautiful thing about it is we partnered up with a financial advisor. His name is Zach. He's amazing too. What he does is if you have, say, like a W-2 job and you want to figure out a way to save on taxes, he'll help you with that too. And he'll help you figure out all the tax codes. I think the guy has like 20 licenses nationwide. It's insane.
And I know that there's a lot of space where you could even like use self-directed IRA opportunities to be able to move money from one thing to invest in something like this.
I love to stick it to the man because I seriously, I do. Like people don't understand what like 401ks and self-directed IRA, like they don't understand that they are literally becoming rich off of you.
Totally.
And they're giving you maybe a 0.5 to 2% return. Like they give you
if they did
nothing.
If they actually dove into the small print, and
nobody reads
how many commissions are really getting distributed to the owners of these different
my
policies.
favorite is when the financial advisors are like, oh, I think this is a bad idea. I don't think you should invest in multifamily. Of course they don't want you to invest in it.
Right. It's a bad idea for them.
Yeah, of course. So I'm like, okay, you keep doing that.
So they're being honest. It's a bad idea. They just aren't completing the sentence.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it. It depends on whose interests. What would cause someone to be in the Four Corners Investment Club as compared to the Blue Ring Investments? Is that just the amount of money they have to invest?
Yeah, I think it's where you are. So everyone's in a different path right now with their investments. If you're just starting off, I think Four Corners is a great starter versus if you're planning on wanting to, syndicate a deal and get paid in the back end and you have $50,000. And that's why our clubs are exclusive, because we don't just take anyone's money. Like we need to make sure that this is money that you're okay with losing. This is not your life savings. This is not your the last dollars in your bank. So we want to make it very clear that real estate is still always a risk. And with that comes, you have to be okay with this money leaving forever.
Are these two entities you just described the main source for what the funds that you're using to now take down other deals? Is that where these entities are for?
Exactly. So we take the money and then we go and we buy the apartment buildings, and from there we can give the returns to our clients. Yeah,
that makes sense. And kind of like the investor you had in Canada for that first one, the ones that you continue to grow with have all been through private money raised through generally private investors, right? That are looking to get a better normal return.
The flips, I feel like my investors for my flips are a little different though, because they're short-minded as far as like they want their money to move faster. With the flips, like we can get your money back 6, 8, 12 months versus with these deals, like they're locked in obviously because we have to cycle through with the apartment. So a lot of people, my suggestion to a lot of people that maybe are investing in flips is to try to think a little long term as well. The short term is fine, but once you pull your money out of that flip, now you have to go find another one and another one, and you have to continue it.
Right. And the difference between, say, these that we're describing now, which are investors looking to just get a good return on their money, versus your brokerage, would be on the brokerage side. This might be for an individual who's like wanting to actively be in the business as an agent. And do you have it structured like a traditional brokerage, where are you as a brokerage getting a piece of each one of their investment deals, or not really?
No. So I think everyone's always, they laugh when I tell them this. Like, I don't want any of my agents to ever like be with me forever. Like,
so these are 100% commission brokerages, basically.
No, I'm very much like, let's So the thing about being a realtor is that you're going to make a lot of money on the commission side, but you have to do something with it. And 90% of realtors take all that money and they just blow it.
Yeah.
They buy the expensive handbags and the cars, and it's nowhere to be found. So what I taught my realtors and any realtor that joins me is, let's save that money, let's invest it, and then let's build a business from there. And when the time comes that you no longer want to be a realtor or don't have to be a realtor, then I will send you off. Like, I don't want any of my agents to be with me forever. I want them to be successful in their own thing.
Building their own investment portfolio.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I love the business model that you've laid out, Katherine. It's very smart, and I'm attracted to it in multiple ways. So I love your ability to describe it the way you have, and I hope it makes sense to the audience for sure. For people who might not know anything about you yet on the personal side, we'll just give them a minute or two on this. So, like, what do you love to do for fun when you're not just jamming investments and running the numbers?
I am heavily in my church, so I run the Missionettes program. I'm the director there. It's kind of like a Girl Scouts, but for the church. So it's super fun. So,
what church you go to?
It's called Mission Maranatha in Palm River, Tampa.
Okay.
So I love it. I've been there maybe 15 years.
Nice.
Never going anywhere else. And so I also love volunteering for a lot of nonprofits. So my two big ones are Freedom to Walk Foundation, which helps people that have like cerebral palsy and the foot drop syndrome, and they raise money to give them devices so that they can walk again. It's very emotional. It's amazing. I cry at all their events.
That is.
And then there's Inheritance of Hope, which also helps children that are losing parents when they are dealing with cancer or any terminal illness. So we raise money to be able to fund counselors and therapy for these children that don't have anyone to talk to.
Wow, that sounds heartbreaking too.
Yeah, we actually have a gala. I will be inviting you. It's November 8th. So we're going to have a gala for that to raise money for Inheritance of Hope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a section generally in our magazine called Making a Difference.
Yeah.
So we try to spotlight specific causes regularly throughout that section.
Yeah.
So some of these that you just brought up might be great candidates.
Yeah, they're amazing
for us to do some of those articles with. Yeah. That's awesome. Family, do you have kids, anything yet?
I do, yes. I have a 7-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And she's 7 going on 17.
Nice. She's following the footsteps, wanting to be an investor queen herself, or what?
She's got 3 businesses of her own. She makes cake pops and sells bracelets. I kid you not, at my galas and my events. She will literally put a table stand and sell bracelets. Like,
that's awesome.
She is such an entrepreneur. It's insane.
Good for her. Yeah, very cool. You guys love to travel all together? Anything that keeps her busy?
Absolutely. Yeah. We love traveling. Last year, we spent 2 months in Europe just backpacking everywhere, and it was amazing.
And it's nice when you know you have the passive income that you can actually spend some time getting away and not having to always be working constantly for that next paycheck, right?
That was what I was searching for when I was flipping. Right. So that's why I got into multifamily.
All right. Couple rapid fire questions. Do you have a favorite book, author, or like a seminar even that you would recommend that you feel like has made an impact on you?
I love a lot of books. If I thought of one, oh my goodness. I feel like, and I know it's kind of played out, but I love it. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I know.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm sorry. But that was the first book that I read that actually opened my mind.
It did for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it at 19 and I was like, oh, wow, this is what an asset really is.
Robert Kiyosaki is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple definition, right?
It is, but
asset puts money in my pocket and a liability takes it out.
So I promise you guys it's worth it if you haven't read it. I know it's played out, but you should get it. In seminars, I'm a firm believer of paying money for mentors if they're good ones.
Yeah.
So any seminar, any mentor, any coaching that you can be a part of, I love it. That's how I got into flipping. So
was there somebody you learned from?
Yeah. I went to he's not around anymore because he was ripping people off, but
at least you got something out of it.
I did. I got a big giant binder and then I figured it out on my own. I went to a Nick Bertucci flipping seminar in California.
Okay.
They were charging $50,000.
Yep. And I did one similar.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Armando Montalongo?
I think so, yeah. It's all the same thing.
I did a California one, went out for a weekend. It was like 40 grand. I didn't pay 40 grand for that weekend.
Yes.
But I think it was like 20 though.
Yeah.
And then he was charging other ones like that he had.
They were charging $50,000 and I negotiated them down to 25.
Yeah.
I said, just give me the entry to the conference and the book. I don't care about anything else. I'll figure it out myself. Yep. And I did. So.
And I learned a lot because I did do flips from that. Yeah. We did like an actual bus tour. We would walk through flips and some of those stuff. But
I've spent
it was crazy. I was doing the math because there was like, it was almost 1,000 people in that room.
Same for me.
And I'm like,
he was making
this guy's crushing it just from this weekend seminar.
So we are literally the same person because I pulled out my calculator and I'm like, He made like $7 million just on this
just
seminar.
this weekend. I know. It's insane, right? It really is.
He really has.
I don't think he's doing it anymore either, probably because of the lawsuits or whatever else he's been exposed to over the years. But there are still, I know, a lot of different gurus out there that try to emphasize this space.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because there are so many people who I think if you talk to want to do what you do, right? They want at least the benefits of it. They want the results that it brings. But for whatever reason, like once they get into it, they don't follow through, and it's hard to get them to the next level. There's an element of fear, whether it's like, do I really want to work that hard? I think a lot of it too is like, even with the gurus, a lot of times they give you a framework, but it's like there's always big gaps that are left out.
That was my binder.
Yeah, exactly.
So the binder
so it's
showed
like you get to this
little.
point where it's like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't have a direct mentor to help me through it. And it wasn't really addressed in any way. And so it's like, now I got to invest another $20,000 to figure out the next step. So
that was exactly
it's almost like
what
a never ending pot that you have to just keep throwing money at to figure out the next step. So it's one of the things that turned me off a little bit about the overall guru industry. But it's awesome to obviously talk with someone who's been crushing it and has made it happen. You're obviously not the only one, but it's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So we'll end with this. When you think about many, many years from now and you're thinking about on that rocking chair and looking at your legacy, what do you think would be most important to you in terms of what you'd want to be remembered for, the type of legacy you'd want to leave?
I have 12 nephews and nieces. So I have one daughter, but they're all my kids. So I have 12 kids. And I want them to remember, first off, that I was God-fearing. And that is the most important thing, because your salvation is most important. All this money and any of it means nothing if at the end of the day when Jesus comes, you can't go to heaven.
Right.
So that would be number one that I would want to be remembered by. And then number two, just that we worked hard. We worked hard for everything we got. We deserved it. And we were able to enjoy life. So many people go their entire life working and slaving for a job and never doing anything for themselves. And that's not why God put us on this earth. He put us here to enjoy our life. So I think the more passive income that you can make, the more you get to enjoy your life, and then you get to spend time with your kids and do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's well put. I had a mentor once who shared with me that it's really important to learn how to first generate massive income and then have the ability to go into passive income, right? And maybe it doesn't have to be exactly in that formula, but it makes a lot of sense, to me. And you kind of did the massive side through maybe some of the flipping efforts that you had and then converted into passive. And there's a lot of different ways for a real estate agent out there. Maybe you're making great money as a top producer right now. Most of the people on this show are. But are you doing anything yet to be able to get that next step, right?
Exactly.
That passive side, so you're not constantly having to work. Many of them that I've interviewed have this thought where they start to build a real estate team thinking that will be more passive.
Always.
And they find out it really isn't, because your time is just as committed, if not more.
Always,
in the coaching and the supporting of your people.
It's never ending.
And then I've seen many of them like give up on that and just go back to self-production.
Because it's better and
because
easier.
Because it's easier, and less hours, but they're still not truly passive, right?
You're trading time for money.
It's this cycle that never ends. And I think you've laid out a really cool plan today for somebody who can see that next step to true passive income.
Exactly.
So hopefully that resonated with a lot of people
I hope so too.
As we went through here. But it was great. And if someone wanted to reach out to you, Katherine, and just pick your brain more or connect with you about the investment club, or what's the best way for someone to reach you?
So my social media people they always give me all the connections that I make on there. So it's under Katherine the Broker, I think, on like all the social media platforms. And we also have 4ci.club for the Four Corners Club, and then bluerinvestors.com for that one.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, we're going to end the episode the way we always do, which is a challenge to the audience. So whether you're watching on any of the live streams right now, or you're listening in on any of the podcast platforms that we featured on, whatever your favorites are, if you don't subscribe, by the way, to our podcast, just click the little button below. That way you'll be notified every time we drop a new episode, which is weekly. And as you can tell, we have different people on this show regularly who specialize in different, ways to crush real estate. And as Katherine has done, build up a passive portfolio as well. But what's one thing that you can take from our conversation today with Katherine that'll help propel you forward personally or professionally? Maybe it's just as simple as reading Rich Dad Poor Dad if you haven't done that yet. Or maybe there's something else Katherine mentioned that you're like, you know what, I've been crushing it, I've been working hard, I'm making good money as an agent, but I have absolutely nothing happening on the passive income side. So what can you do? Can you look into your first investment property? Do you need to have a conversation with someone like Katherine to figure out those next steps? Maybe you're somebody who just wants to invest money and you making money as a doctor or another profession, and you're like, I would love to invest some of my money. And Katherine mentioned a couple of different investment clubs and opportunities that you can also have. So that might be the next step for you. But what is it? What's one thing so you don't just waste this time that you invested in listening to this episode, but you do something that's going to move you forward? Tony Robbins preaches the importance of just taking action, right? One step. And that's what we encourage you to do as well. Maybe that one step is checking out topproducersnation.com and joining our online community as well, so you can be infiltrated with people like Katherine who provide value in different ways, be a part of our weekly coaching calls, be a part of our online community, our shared resources, and all the different programs that we have to help you be a top producer in your desired market, whichever market that is. So we will see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast, and we'll see you there.